What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some Blancmange for the first time in a while. Thank you as always to Han Solo, and this is a product of me not remembering that there were other proper albums after we went through Happy Families. And indeed, when I downloaded Mange Tout 1984, I noticed that the first 3 tracks, I think, I had already reacted to as part of the Greatest Hits compilation that Mr. Solo shared. So, yes, we're jumping ahead of those, and we're getting back to this deep dive. And the first track on the album that I haven't reacted to, make sure I have this right, yes, Time Became the Tide. I like that. People often talk about time moving as a flow. Of course, waves are a particular type of flow and are perhaps more punctuated or varying in their movement, and so of course I think that lends itself to poetic or metaphorical understandings about maybe the way time feels like it's standing still but then it crashes and moves forward very quickly at other times. So yeah, it's a very expressive and poetic type of title. I'll just say that it sounds like something that may set the stage for a longer arc narrative, but perhaps described or expressed in retrospective. So I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Blancmange. The tune is Time Became the Tide, and it's from their 1984 album, and I'm assuming this is how you pronounce it, Mange Tout.
Time became the tide and turned again and washed onto 1,000 beaches. How time became the tide and touched and turned, you touched and turned me inside out. And a dried out shell can never show the horrors that you bring to me in Death Trap Sofa. How time became the tide. Each day you leave me standing still, and still a dried out shell. Dragged into the careless life, nothing else to do. Waves don't often mean their anger. I can only wait so long. I can only wait so long. I can only wait so long, so long, farewell. How time became the tide. Oh, it creeps, it slides and yawns each day. So long, farewell, farewell, farewell. How time became the tide. And when you're calm, you miss me. Angry, I stand to lose you.
I mean, that was an experience. Okay, so, you know, my experience with this group is still relatively limited. Most of one album, or like part of a greatest hits compilation, which again includes 3 tracks at least from this album, the first 3, which is an indication that maybe this track is one of their most notable, if that many right from the start of the album are included on a greatest hits compilation. But yes, the debut album Happy Families, including some extended mixes that I did reactions to, and again shout out to Mr. Solo. This album, the folder for it has a number of extended mixes, and seemingly it's like a deluxe version of the album, so we'll have those to go through here, or at least those that I haven't already gone through. But yeah, my knowledge of their larger sonic tendencies or regularities is still pretty limited, and I don't remember a track that was this, let's say, natural or even historical instrument bass, meaning this didn't sound like an 80s synth-pop track despite being from 84. This sounded like a scene with recitative in an opera. Like, it really felt like I was immersed with an orchestra playing below and watching a solo. I don't know if aria would be the right term, but it felt like I was watching a main character in an opera sort of speak to the audience in that kind of breaking the fourth wall soliloquy sort of way, and talking to someone who's not there about the way they've treated him, you know, left him standing. And I should have mentioned, you know, I focused on time as a fluid or wave metaphor in my thinking about the title in advance, but tidally, a tide coming and going, you know, washing on a shore, receding, and so on. He talks about that right away, the way, you know, time is like, it's landing on what was it, 1,000 beaches or something like that. So definitely some very evocative, figurative expressions, but it sounds like he feels left behind by this person, or immobilized, frozen by what they've done with him, and maybe he hasn't been able to move on. And again, the word became in the title does seem to be a retrospective. But yeah, again, it felt like I was watching a very dramatic scene of a character ruminating about his emotions and what this other person has done in an opera. So it was a very, again, immersive and stunning experience. The instruments, amazing. We get some violins, we get some string, like pads for lack of a better word. We definitely have some organ in there. I heard a flute, there were some bells or maybe chimes. It was a really rich and, again, very symphonic type of orchestration. And his voice, again, I mentioned it on Feel Me Now. I remember very much commenting on his voice. It has this power and heft to it. And in that context, it was almost aggressive. It was, you know, sharp and energetic. Here it has this bigger, deeper sweep, but it still has that drama. So again, just the whole experience of it was very much like I was watching a story, even if I don't know quite how the lines all stitch together in the scene that is being painted. But he did talk about other types of movement, not just the waves, but the, oh, what was it? There were like creeping, or there was another verb too, like, I don't know if it was coming up by the side of or something, but there were a couple other verbs referencing fluid type motion, but in the context of the way time has played out, or the way time has moved. So very expressive lyrics as well. Really cool re-entry into this deep dive, and I'll now try to keep it semi-regular at the very least. Again, I had forgotten that it had, number one, dropped off for that long, and number two, I forgot that there were other proper albums that are still waiting. So, as I said, Blancmange is back. Hopefully people that were following it before can reconnect. Once again, shout out to Mr. Solo. Let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.